chemical coordination and integration, NCERT based single sentence questions. Let's start. System which provides a point to point rapid coordination among organs is, we call it as a neural system. Coordination of this system is fast but short-lived. Neural system. Neural system is fast but short-lived. As the dash do not innervate, all cells of the body and the cellular functions need to be continuously regulated. That is nerve fibers. Nerve fibers. Then a special kind of coordination and integration has to be provided. The function is carried out by hormones. The system which regulates the functions that do not require instantaneous response and the effects persist for a relatively longer period is endocrine system. The system which regulates the functions that require instantaneous response and the effect persists for a relatively short period, neural system. Neural system. The system which are believed to be originated and developed side by side as the needs of communication became more complex due to increased complexity in body organization and particularly in mammals, that is endocrine system. The system that dash and the dash system and the dash system jointly coordinate and regulate the physiological function, neural and endocrine system. Why the endocrine glands are called ductless glands? Endocrine glands are called ductless glands because they lack ducts. Secretions of endocrine glands are called hormones. The dash definition, the classical definition of hormone as a chemical produced by endocrine glands and released into the blood and transported to a distantly located target organ. Current scientific definition as follows: hormones are non-nutrient chemicals which acts as a intercellular messengers and produced in trace amounts. Non-nutrient, intercellular, and produced in trace amounts. They are the properties of hormones. The new current scientific definition covers a number of new molecules, and in addition to the hormones secreted by the organized endocrine glands. The dash possesses very simple endocrine system with few hormones, whereas a large number of chemicals act as hormones and provide coordination in invertebrates. We are talking about invertebrates possess very simple endocrine system with few hormones, whereas a large number of chemicals act as hormones and provide coordination in the vertebrates. The endocrine glands and hormone producing diffuse tissues or cells located in different parts of our body constitute the endocrine system. Pituitary, pineal, thyroid, adrenal, pancreas, parathyroid, thymus, gonad, testis in male, ovary in female are considered as organized endocrine bodies in our body. Okay, structure of brain, which is at the basal part of diencephalon and regulates a wide spectrum of body functions. Hypothalamus. Dash contains several group of neurosecretory cells. The dash hypothalamus contain several groups of neurosecretory cells called hormones, which produce secretory cells called hormones, which produce hormones, and it is located at the basal part of diencephalon. Part of forebrain located below the thalamus is called hypothalamus is called hypothalamus. Below the thalamus is called hypothalamus. Hormones released by hypothalamus which stimulate the secretions of pituitary hormones is called regulatory hormones. Called as regulatory hormones. Hormones released by hypothalamus which inhibit the secretions of pituitary hormones are called inhibitory hormones. Transport of neurohormones from hypothalamus to neurohypophysis is possible by hypophyseal tract. A tract between hypothalamus and hypophysis is said to be hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract, or you can call it as axonal bundle. A special system helpful for the transport of releasing hormones and inhibiting hormone from hypothalamus to anterior pituitary is called portal circulatory system. Portal circulatory system. A hypothalamic hormone called which hormone? Gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone. Stimulates the pituitary synthesis and release of gonadotropin. Hormone released from the hypothalamus which inhibit the secretion of pituitary growth hormone inhibiting hormone. Releasing and inhibiting hormones of hypothalamus originating in the hypothalamic neurons pass through axons and are released from their nerve endings. The dash is under the direct neural regulation of the hypothalamus. Posterior pituitary is under the direct regulation of hypothalamus. GHRH, somatocrinin, is released from that hypothalamic neurons. GHIH, somatotropin is somatostatin is released from GHIH or somatostatin released from hypothalamic neurons. STH, somatotropin released from anterior pituitary. Somatocrinin and somatostatin are transported to anterior pituitary with the help of portal circulatory system. Secretions of this part directly control the pituitary gland, which in turn secrete hormones that regulate the growth and functioning of other endocrine glands. Hypothalamus. Write the releasing hormone released from hypothalamus for the given hormones. Releasing hormone. For given hormones that I mean GH, GHRH, and for GHRH, which is also called somatocrinin, GHIH are also called somatocrinin, which is very important to remember, and the remaining will go through FSH, RH. Next, C, TSH, RH. D, ACTH, RH. Then prolactin, for prolactin, RH, releasing hormone. Then for F, we have to talk about it. This is E. For F, MSH, RH. Every hormone has their own releasing hormones that we have to talk about. And then let's talk about inhibiting hormones. That every hormone is having their own inhibiting hormones here, in their own inhibiting hormones. Okay, so let's write here. So simply inhibiting hormones we are writing here, inhibiting hormones. That releasing hormones, just we need to put that inhibiting hormones instead of RI. And here it is, we have a name, somatostatin. Then for FSH, IH. For TSH, IH. For ACTH, ACTH, IH. Then here, inhibiting hormones. Just we need to add the suffix as inhibiting hormone. Pituitary gland is located in a bony cavity called sella turcica. Sella turcica. Bony cavity called as sella turcica and attaches to the hypothalamus by a stalk called infundibulum. What is usually called the stalk as infundibulum. Infundibulum. Okay. Next. Pituitary gland is divided anatomically into adenohypophysis, and neurohypophysis. Adenohypophysis, neurohypophysis. The dash consists of two portions, pars distalis and pars intermedia. Okay, adenohypophysis. The dash region of pituitary commonly called as anterior pituitary. Pars distalis. Hormones of pars intermedia of anterior pituitary. Melanocyte stimulating hormone. Melanocyte stimulating hormone. Hormones of pars distalis of anterior pituitary. GH, growth hormone, prolactin, TSH, ACTH, LH, FSH. Lobe of anterior pituitary, which is almost merged with the pars distalis in human being, that is pars intermedia. Lobes of anterior pituitary or adenohypophysis are pars distalis and pars intermedia. Lobes of posterior pituitary are neurohypophysis, pars nervosa. Hormones which are actually synthesized by the hypothalamus and are transported axonally to neurohypophysis are oxytocin and vasopressin. Hormones of pituitary which are considered as gonadotropins, FSH and LH. Structure which is formed from the remnant of the Graafian follicle after ovulation is corpus luteum. Excess loss of water through urine is called diuresis. Location of pineal gland. Pineal gland is located at dorsal side of forebrain. Pineal gland is located at the dorsal side of forebrain. Number of lobes in the thyroid gland. Number of lobes in the thyroid gland. 2. Location of thyroid gland. Either side of trachea. Thyroid gland is located either sides of trachea. Lobes of thyroid gland are interconnected with a thin flap of connective tissue called isthmus. The thyroid gland is composed of follicle and stromal tissues. Each thyroid follicle is composed of follicular cells enclosing a cavity. Hormones secreted from the follicular cells of thyroid gland are T4 and T3, triiodothyronin, tetraiodothyronin. Triiodothyronin hormone is also called thyroxine. Mineral which is essential for the normal rate of hormone synthesis in thyroid is iodine. Graves' disease is also called exophthalmic goiter. Then protein hormone secreted from thyroid gland, thyrocalcitonin. Amine hormone secreted from thyroid gland, thyroxine. Peptide hormone released from parathyroid gland, parathyroid hormone or parathormone. Can say peptide hormone released from the thymus is thymosin. Endocrine cells present in different parts of the gastrointestinal tract secrete four major peptide hormones, namely gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin, CCK we can say, cholecystokinin, and gastric inhibitory peptide, gastric inhibitory peptide. Peptide hormone produced from heart, ANF, atrial natriuretic factor. Peptide hormone produced from juxtaglomerular cells of kidney. Juxtaglomerular cells of kidney, renin. Peptide hormone released from the endocrine part of the pancreas. Peptide hormone released from the endocrine part of pancreas, insulin and glucagon. Follicular cells of thyroid gland secrete thyroxine. Parafollicular cells of thyroid gland secrete calcitonin. Due to cancer of the thyroid gland or due to the development of nodules in the thyroid gland, the rate of synthesis and secretion of the thyroid hormone is increased to abnormal high level, leading to a condition called hyperthyroidism, which adversely affects the body physiology. In human, parathyroid glands are present on the back side. 4 parathyroid glands are present on the back side of the thyroid. They are present on the back side of the thyroid. One pair, each in the 2 lobes of thyroid gland. Lobular structure, which is located between the lungs, behind the sternum on the ventral side of aorta, is thymus gland. Number of adrenal glands in human. Number of adrenal glands in human, 1 pair. Location of adrenal glands in human. Anterior part of kidney. Anterior part of each kidney. Number of types of tissues in adrenal gland, 2 types. Centrally located tissue of adrenal gland is called adrenal medulla. Peripheral tissue of the adrenal gland is called adrenal cortex. Adrenal medulla secrete 2 hormones, epinephrine or norepinephrine. Epinephrine or adrenaline. Epinephrine or adrenaline and norepinephrine or noradrenaline. They are commonly called as catecholamines. Hormones are commonly called as catecholamines. Adrenaline and noradrenaline are rapidly secreted in response to the stress of any kind of emergency. During emergency situations, and are called emergency hormones. Response to the stress they release. So that fight or flight, which hormones do like so? That's what we have to say. Adrenaline and noradrenaline hormones are like so. Number of layers in the adrenal cortex of region are 3. Outer layer of the adrenal cortex, zona glomerulosa. Middle layer of the adrenal cortex, zona fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. Adrenal cortex inner layer, zona reticularis. Secretions of the adrenal cortex are commonly called as corticoids. The corticoids which are involved in carbohydrate metabolism are called. Glucocorticoids. Involved in carbon dioxide metabolism are called glucocorticoids. Corticoids which regulate the balance of water and electrolytes in our body are called aldosterone, or we can say mineralocorticoids. Let's write mineralocorticoids. Major mineralocorticoid is aldosterone. Major glucocorticoid is cortisol. Major mineralocorticoid is aldosterone. Hormones of zona glomerulosa are called as mineralocorticoids. Hormones of zona fasciculata, glucocorticoids. Hormones of zona reticularis are called sex corticoids. Composite gland which acts as both exocrine and endocrine, pancreas. The two main type of cells in the endocrine part of the pancreas are called that what are the cells here? Alpha cells and beta cells. Dash is degenerated in old individuals. Thymus is degenerated in old individuals, resulting in a decreased production of thymosin. Hormone released from them is thymosin. As a result, the immune responses of the person is going to be old person. Old person are going to become weak. Hormone secrete from the beta cells of pancreas, insulin. So pancreas secrete insulin. Alpha cell secrete glucagon. Alpha cell secrete glucagon. Diabetic patients are successfully treated with insulin therapy. Endocrine part of the pancreas is called islets of Langerhans. There are about 1 million, 1 to 2 million, 1 to 2 millions of islets of Langerhans are present. Millions of islets of Langerhans are present in human pancreas, resulting only 1 to 2% of the pancreatic tissue. The glucose homeostasis thus maintained jointly by the two hormones called insulin and glucagon. A pair of dash is present in a pair of testis is present in the scrotal sac of male individual. Testis perform dual functions as a primary sex organ as well as an endocrine gland. Females have a pair of ovaries located in the abdomen. Dash is the primary female sex organ. Ovary is the primary female sex organ which produces one ovum during each menstrual cycle. Organ which perform dual functions as a primary sex organ as well as a endocrine gland, that is testis. Ovary also produces two groups of steroid hormones called estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. After ovulation, the ruptured follicle is converted to a structure called corpus luteum. The structure called corpus luteum, which secretes mainly hormone called progesterone. Testis composed of seminiferous tubules. Testis composed of seminiferous tubules and stromal or interstitial tissue. Stromal or interstitial tissue. Yes. Atrial wall of our heart secrete a very important peptide hormone called atrial natriuretic factor. The hormone said to be atrial natriuretic factor. Missed out. Answer came here. Hormones are also secreted. Let me write here, no matter. Hormones, ANF, atrial natriuretic factor, or atrial natriuretic peptide. Hormones are also secreted by some tissues which are not. Hormones also secreted by some tissues which are not endocrine glands. Several other non-endocrine tissues secrete hormones called growth factors. They secrete growth factors. These factors are essential for the normal growth of tissues and the repairing and regeneration. Ovaries are composed of ovarian stroma. Ovaries are composed of ovarian stroma which contain follicles and stromal tissues are also present here. Estrogen is synthesized and secreted mainly by Graafian follicles. Growing ovarian follicles are called Graafian follicles. In the testes, the dash cells, Leydig cells, are interstitial cells Leydig cells are interstitial cells which are present in the intertubular spaces, produced a group of hormones called androgens. Main androgen is going to be testosterone. Right, the endocrine disorder, lower secretion of growth hormone in children, pituitary dwarfism, pituitary dwarfism, excess secretion of the growth hormone in adult, acromegaly, excess secretion, acromegaly. An impairment affecting the synthesis or releasing ADH results in diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus. So prolonged hyperglycemia leads to a complex disorder called diabetes mellitus, which is associated with the loss of glucose. We lose more, and with loss of a disorder called diabetes mellitus, which is associated with the loss of glucose through urine and formation of harmful compound known as ketone bodies. Loss of glucose through urine. Right, the endocrine disorder for deficiency of iodine. Deficiency of iodine in our diet results in goiter. Hypothyroidism during pregnancy causes defective development and maturation for the growing baby, lead to a stunted growth. Congenital hypothyroidism, we can say it as cretinism. It is a form of hyperthyroidism characterized by enlargement of thyroid gland, protrusion of eyeball, increased basic metabolic rate, and weight loss, that is exophthalmic goiter. So, underproduction of hormones by the adrenal cortex alters carbohydrate metabolism, causing acute weakness and fatigue, lead to a disease called Addison's disease. That is Addison's disease. Symptom and reason we are writing here: a hormone which regulates the growth of mammary gland and formation of milk, prolactin. Hormones stimulate the synthesis and secretion of thyroid hormone from the thyroid gland. Hormones stimulate the synthesis and secretion of thyroid hormone from thyroid gland. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone from pituitary, do so. Stimulate the synthesis and secretion of steroid hormones called glucocorticoid from the adrenal cortex. That is from pituitary gland, ACTH will come here. Stimulate the gonadal activity and hence are called gonadotropin hormone. That we can say FSH and LH. They regulate the development, maturation, functions of the male accessory sex organs like epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and urethra. They are called androgens. We call the hormones them as androgens. Next, in males, dash regulates. In males, FSH and androgens, FSH and androgen regulate spermatogenesis. It acts mainly at the kidney and stimulates the resorption of water, electrolytes by the distal tubule and thereby reduces the loss of water through urine. What do you call the hormone? Vasopressin or ADH, antidiuretic hormone. Dash stimulate gluconeogenesis, lipolysis, proteolysis. Hormone which stimulate do so glucocorticoids. In males, stimulate the synthesis and secretion of hormones called androgens from testes. Androgens from testes, that is LH. In female, that dash induces ovulation of fully mature follicles, that is LH, luteinizing hormone. It is considered as antidiuretic hormone, vasopressin. Stimulate the growth and development of ovarian follicles in female, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, helpful for the maturation of follicles. Identify the hormone based on the given function, acts on the melanocytes or melanin containing cells and regulate the pigmentation of the skin, that is MSH, melanophore stimulating hormone. Hormone which maintain the corpus luteum, LH, luteinizing hormone. Acts on smooth muscles of our body and stimulate their contraction, oxytocin. It plays very important role in the regulation of 24-hour diurnal rhythm, melatonin. Play an important role in the regulation of the basal metabolic rate. Important role in the basal metabolic rate, thyroxine. In female, it stimulates a vigorous contraction of the uterus at the time of childbirth, oxytocin. It helps in maintaining the normal rhythms of the sleep-wake cycle and body temperature, melatonin. The secretion of dash is regulated by the circulating levels of calcium ion, parathyroid hormone or parathormone hormone, we can say. These hormones increase alertness, pupillary dilation, piloerection, raising hair, sweating. That is epinephrine or norepinephrine, adrenaline or noradrenaline, we can say. It stimulates the RBC production, hormone of adrenal gland which stimulate the RBC production, that is cortisol. In female, it is helpful for the milk ejection from the mammary gland, that is oxytocin. Then dash also stimulate the breakdown of glycogen resulting in an increased concentration of the glucose in the blood. Let's go down. Hormone stimulates the breakdown of glycogen resulting in an increased concentration of the glucose in the blood. We call them as catecholamines, epinephrine and norepinephrine. It also influences the metabolism, pigmentation, menstrual cycle, as well as our defense capability. Melatonin. Uh, Support the process of red blood cell formation, control the metabolism of carbohydrate, proteins, and fat, maintenance of water and electrolyte balance. Thyroxine. Hormone of thyroid which maintain the blood calcium levels. Thyrocalcitonin. Thyrocalcitonin, which is released from thyroid gland. Plays major role in the development of immune system. Plays major role in the development of immune system, thymus gland. It also involved in maintaining the cardiovascular system as well as the kidney functions, that is cortisol. Acts mainly on the renal tubule and stimulate the reabsorption of sodium ions, that is aldosterone. On DCT it works more. Hormones stimulate the process of gluconeogenesis, which also contribute to the hyperglycemia. Reduce the cellular glucose uptake and utilization, and it is called hyperglycemic hormone. What is that? Glucagon. Hormone is glucagon. It plays a major role in the regulation of glucose homeostasis. It acts mainly on, wait. Increases the calcium levels. Wait, we have more glucagons. So it acts mainly on hepatocyte and adipocyte, enhances the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. Here it is insulin. Next, it increases the calcium levels in the blood. Parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid antagonistic to the calcitonin, parathyroid hormone. Both the hormone increase the heartbeat, strength of heart contraction, and the rate of respiration. That is epinephrine and norepinephrine. Epinephrine and norepinephrine. Dash particularly produces anti-inflammatory reaction. Glucocorticoids. at major glucocorticoid is cortisol. It also stimulates the reabsorption of calcium by renal tubule and increase calcium absorption from the digested food. That is parathyroid hormone. It is a peptide hormone. It is a peptide hormone, plays an important role in maintaining the normal blood glucose level, glucagon. It acts on mammary glands and stimulates the formation of alveoli. Stimulate the formation of alveoli. It acts on the mammary gland and stimulate the formation of alveoli. Hormone released from the ovary, we are talking about released from the ovary. That was the answer actually. To say it as progesterone, it will go a little down here to see the full question. Here it is the question. Released from ovary. So that definitely it is going to be progesterone. So it acts on bones and stimulate the process of bone resorption, dissolution or demineralization. Who is that? Thyrocalcitonin, which lowers the calcium levels in EC. It acts on bone and stimulate the process of bone resorption or dissolution or demineralization. Parathyroid hormone or parathyroid hormone, we can say. Hormone which lowers the calcium levels in ECF. Calcitonin. Hormones stimulate the muscular growth, growth of facial and axillary hair, aggressiveness, low pitch of voice. That is androgens, we can say androgens. Small amounts of dash are also here going down. Small amounts of dash are also secreted by adrenal cortex, which play a role in the growth of axial hair, pubic hair, facial hair during puberty. We call them as androgenic steroids. They also regulate the female sexual behavior, libido, estrogen. It acts mainly on the liver cell, hepatocytes, stimulate the glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis, that is glucagon. It is thus clear that a hypercalcemic hormone, that is, it increases the blood calcium levels, parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone. Identify the hormone based on the given function. Hormone play a major role in the differentiation of T lymphocyte, which provide cell-mediated immunity. That is thymosin, thymic lymphocyte we call. Identify the hormone. Along with TCT, it plays a significant role in calcium balance of the body. That is parathyroid hormone or parathyroid hormone. In addition, it also promotes the production of antibodies, that is thymosin, to provide humoral immunity. This hormone helps the maintenance of electrolyte, body fluid volume, osmotic pressure, blood pressure, that is aldosterone. Because of the action of this peptide hormone, there is a rapid movement of glucose from blood to hepatocyte and adipocyte, resulting in decreased blood glucose level called hypoglycemia, that is hormone insulin. They play a major stimulatory role in the process of spermatogenesis and release from the testes. That is androgens. Conversion of the glucose to glycogen. Conversion of the stimulate the conversion of glucose to glycogen in the target cells. Dash act on central nervous system influence the male sexual behavior, that is androgens. They produce wide-ranging actions such as stimulation of growth and activities of the female secondary sexual character, sex organ, development of growing ovarian follicle, appearance of female secondary sexual character, high pitch of voice, mammary gland development. The hormone is going to be estrogens. Those hormones which are released from testes produce anabolic effects on protein and carbohydrate metabolism, androgens. It supports pregnancy, progesterone. It decreases blood pressure. When blood pressure is increased, atrial natriuretic factor is secreted which causes the dilation of the blood vessel, reduces the blood pressure. It stimulates erythropoiesis, formation of RBC called erythropoiesis. That hormone name is erythropoietin, released from kidney. Erythropoietin from kidney. It acts on the gastric gland and stimulates the secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen, hormone name gastrin. Acts on exocrine pancreas, stimulates the secretion of water and bicarbonate ion, secretin. So acts on both pancreas and gallbladder and stimulate the secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juice respectively, cholecystokinin. It inhibits gastric inhibitory secretion and motility, gastric inhibitory peptide, GIPR. We can say it as enterogastrone, gastric inhibitory peptide or enterogastrone, we can say. Identify the disease based on the given symptoms. Identify the disease. Adults, especially in the middle age, can result in adult, especially in severe disfigurement, which may lead to serious complication, premature death, if it is unchecked. That is acromegaly. Stunted growth in children, pituitary dwarfism, abnormal growth in children, pituitary gigantism. Disease hard to diagnose in early stages, often goes undetected for many years until we say it is an acromegaly. A diminished ability of the kidney to conserve water, that is diabetes insipidus. Mental retardation, low IQ, abnormal skin, deaf mutism, all these are seen in cretinism. In adult women, dash may cause the menstrual cycle to become irregular, hypothyroidism. Alter the carbohydrate metabolism, causing acute weakness, fatigue, lead to a disease called Addison's disease. GnRH, we say gonadotropin releasing hormone and growth hormone. Prolactin, thyrotropic stimulating hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, thyrotropic stimulating or thyroid stimulating hormone. ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, and LH, luteinizing hormone, luteinizing hormone, melanophore stimulating hormone, melanophore stimulating hormone, and GTH, GTH, we say gonadotropin hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. ADH, antidiuretic hormone. T3, triiodothyronin, triiodothyronin, 3 iodine molecules, we can say. T4, tetraiodothyronin, T4, tetraiodothyronin. Nothing but thyroxine. So PTH, parathyroid hormone. PTH, parathyroid hormone. TCT, thyrocalcitonin. CCK, cholecystokinin. GIP, gastric inhibitory peptide, cholecystokinin, gastric inhibitory peptide. ANF, atrial natriuretic factor. IP3, inositol triphosphate, secondary messenger it is, inositol triphosphate is a secondary messenger. GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Okay, so write the gland which the hormone secreted from. Asked here actually write the gland which hormone secreted from. GnRH released from hypothalamus. Okay, parathyroid gland release parathyroid hormone. Okay, then noradrenaline. See, noradrenaline released from adrenal medulla. Erythropoietin from kidney. Somatostatin is released from, this is called GNIH. GNIH released from hypothalamus. Thyroxine from thyroid gland. Then gastrin from stomach. Thyrocalcitonin from parafollicular cells of thyroid gland. Parafollicular cells of thyroid gland. Secretin is from intestine. MSH, melanophore stimulating hormone, released from anterior pituitary, that is from pars intermedia. Cholecystokinin released from intestine. Aldosterone, adrenal cortex, that we have to answer it as zona glomerulosa. Adrenal cortex, zona glomerulosa. Next, we have one more here, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, anterior pituitary, or we can say adenohypophysis, anterior pituitary. Vasopressin, released from posterior pituitary, produced in hypothalamus. Gastric inhibitory peptide from intestine. ACTH, it is from anterior pituitary, hormone released from anterior pituitary. Melatonin from pineal gland, hormone melatonin from pineal gland. Catecholamines, adrenal medulla. LH, luteinizing hormone, which is a part of gonadotropin hormones, that is from anterior pituitary. Insulin from pancreas. Endocrine part of the pancreas, islets of Langerhans. Particularly, we are asking insulin. That means it is from beta cells. TSH, thyrotropic stimulating hormone, releasing from anterior pituitary. Glucagon from islets of Langerhans, pancreas, released, and in that endocrine portion called islets of Langerhans, and alpha cells, from alpha cells. Next, talking about estrogen released from the Graafian follicles of ovary, theca interna of Graafian follicles of ovary. Let us write ovary, Graafian follicles of ovary. ANF, atrial natriuretic factor from the right atrium of heart. GH, growth hormone secreted from anterior pituitary. Cortisol, adrenal cortex, we have to say, and it was zona fasciculata, middle layer. zona fasciculata, and particularly it is called a group of hormone called glucocorticoid. Okay, next C, testosterone. Interstitial cells are Leydig cells. Interstitial cells are Leydig cells, we can see, present in the testis. Progesterone. Initially, corpus luteum secretes, then after placenta secretes this hormone. Oxytocin. So let's talk about this. Oxytocin. Oxytocin released from actually produced in the hypothalamus, but released from neurohypophysis. Thymosin, thymus gland, child gland. Adrenaline, adrenaline from adrenal medulla. Prolactin, prolactin from anterior pituitary. Hormones produce their effects on target tissues. Hormones produce their effects on target tissues by binding to specific proteins called hormone receptors. Specific proteins called hormone receptors located on target tissues only, target cells only. Hormone receptors present on the cell membrane of the target cells are called membrane bound receptors. If hormone receptors are present inside the target cell, such receptors are called intracellular receptors. Binding of a hormone to its receptor leads to the formation of hormone receptor complex. Each receptor is specific to one hormone only, hence receptors are called hormone specific, we say. Dash complex formation leads to certain biochemical changes in the target tissue. That hormone receptor complex formation leads to sudden biochemical changes in the target tissue and target tissue metabolism, and hence are physiological functions are regulated by hormones. Most of the intracellular receptors are called nuclear receptors because they are mostly present in the nucleus. On the basis of chemical nature, hormones can be divided into groups. What are the groups here? Peptide, protein, and polypeptide. Then next we say steroids. Another iodothyronins. The fourth one is amino acid derivatives. Insulin, glucagon, pituitary hormone, hypothalamic hormones. What are they? Peptides, polypeptide, and protein hormones. Cortisol, testosterone, estradiol, and progesterone, steroid hormones. Iodothyronins are thyroid hormones. Amino acid derivatives. Epinephrine is given as amino acid derivatives. Type of receptor present for steroid hormones and iodothyronins. Intracellular receptors, because the hormone can enter into the cell. Intracellular receptors. Steroid hormones have hormone specific receptor in the cell as intracellular receptors. Why? because steroid hormones can enter through the lipoprotein cell membrane. Lipoprotein cell membrane. Protein and other hormones have hormone specific receptor on the cell membrane as a membrane bound receptors. Why? Lipoprotein cell membrane is impermeable to them. Hormones which interact with membrane bound receptors are secondary, normally do not enter the target cell but generate secondary messengers like cyclic AMP, cyclic AMP, inositol triphosphate, IP3 we can say, it's a calcium ion, and they regulate the cellular metabolism. Hormones which interact with intracellular receptors mostly regulate gene expression or chromosome function, by the interaction of hormone receptor complex with the genome. Okay. Cumulative biochemical actions result in physiological and developmental effects. Then, thank you.